If you are a much happy Boro supporter this week after 2 wins, then welcome along. We've got Will, Jonathan, and Craig to discuss the win against Derby County and, of course, look ahead to the Swansea game this weekend. This is where Boro walk, and it's 4 Boro topics in 20 minutes. Let's get straight into it. We're talking this week about a future captain, potentially. Is Fry that impressive that he could be the future Boro captain? We're also talking about Finn Azaz and how great it is to see him back. We're choosing our February player of the month that doesn't get the usual awards, and we're choosing who we'd love to play in the playoff final. Now, when we asked our Sunderland fans this, they said they'd love to play Boro and win 5-0. So let's stay behind at the end of this particular video to see if actually Boro would love to replicate that and having Sunderland as their opponents. Fingers crossed you get there, Will, but now back on, isn't it? After a couple of weeks of it's over, we're now back in the hunt.
Yeah, we are. I'm really excited. I think the next 3 games are really winnable. There's definitely a platform now to build on. You have to be excited. You have to be positive because after the last sort of month, it's just been pretty horrendous. I think the guys will all agree. I think we can get into the top 6 come the next few games. I think there's a massive chance there, and especially with some of the other teams. I know Coventry on fire, but some of the other teams are dropping points. West Brom and Blackburn and Norwich drawing at the weekend is a great result for us. So delighted to see a couple of goals going in and a clean sheet as well on the weekend was great.
Yeah. Let me just caveat all of what Will's just said, Jonathan, by asking you this, and the devil's advocate a little bit here, but have you just not played the worst 2 teams in the league and got 6 points?
Correct. Yeah. Stoke weren't particularly good, and Derby, well, you could actually argue were worse. So, for me, it's 2 wins, great, and 6 points. The proof is in the pudding. Got to go and do it again and again and again and again, and we've not done that all season. So I want the team, the manager, the lot of them to go and prove me wrong that, they can just go and win relentlessly till the end of the season and put themselves in that momentum position, which is the best position to be in going into the playoffs.
Yeah, fair dues. We'll let you have that one then. Craig Borough in Altness says a few positives. Glad to see Azaz is back, which we'll get onto in a second. Carrick's subs were actually decent for once. We could have scored more, but the win is the most important. There was no Carrick hate this week. His substitutions actually did the business. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah. I think his substitutions, I think he picked a more balanced starting 11. Iniacho not starting, Azaz playing back in the hole, Conway's like your number 9 striker, and I think the balance through the team was good. But yeah, I think his substitutions, he's done well. It's 2 games, 2 wins, 6 points, and it doesn't matter who you play. At the beginning of the season, we played Derby and we got beat off them then, and they were bottom of the league, like Plymouth away. They were bottom of the league. Like, do you know what I mean? You just have to win your games.
Yeah. Good to see you back, Sean. We missed you last week, and just to say that last week I had the only 3 Boro fans in the country that weren't saying Carrick out. I think. Were you at all wavering in that period?
I think we all wavered, if I'm being honest. I can understand the logic with sticking with him because I think the cohesion off the pitch and all the work that's gone into the recruitment and stuff, I think it would have been difficult to bring somebody in and get them aligned as quickly as we would have required to sort of get back in amongst it. But just to pick up there what you're saying about the 2 poor teams we played, the lads have already alluded, but they're the kind of games that we have really struggled, i.e. the low block, men behind the ball. It was really sort of heartening to see us playing a different way. And I think, dare I say it, not many maybe would, but even in the Bristol game, I could see there was like a slightly different tweak in as much as that the forward players were even getting behind the ball when we didn't have it, and we worked a bit harder on that side of the game. And I think we've got to do that a bit more.
Absolutely. All good shouts, those. Let's go back to the main man that people are talking about, Will, if we can, for a second, which is your Fry. Martin says, surely the next club captain. RM says he was showing this form when he first came back. It makes you wonder why he didn't play in the games like Sheffield United when fit. He is our best out-and-out defender at the club. So 2 questions for you there. Number 1, is he captain material, and is he the best out-and-out defender at the club?
Firstly, yeah, he's a Boro boy. It's clear that he knows what it means. Um, whether he's actually like that in the dressing room, none of us would know. Um, I don't really know what kind of leader he would be, but if he leads by example on the pitch, then that's fine. If he played like he did against Derby and like he has previously, the second one, it's strange that he's not really been in the starting 11 since he's come back. I mean, when he did come back initially from his injury, he looked really solid, looked really fit as well. But yeah, then a couple of weeks out, I mean, but with our a defender crisis right now, it would be really good to see him get a run of games and finish the season strongly. And yeah, who knows next season with Howson, not sure what he's going to do. Ayling probably going to go as well. Lenihan out, so yeah, it might be a good fit for captain next season.
Jonathan, do you agree?
Agree, he's our best defender, and I'm always puzzled when he's on the bench, and I'm assuming it's because it's fitness or injury, and he doesn't get a start, and one of the other centre backs is ahead of him. As for a captain, he's got all the history, he's got the play and that kind of stuff. I like my captain a bit more kind of vocal and aggressive, and from that point of view, I don't think he's got that. And I remember before Warnock came in, we used to have a really quiet team, and I kind of feel that sometimes now. So I wouldn't begrudge him being captain, but he's a little quiet for my liking.
This tweet summed it up, I think, Craig. Michael says he's a top quality defending again today and nearly scored. The midfield need to be available to take the ball from him because he won't F around at the back like the others do. He's a proper old school defender. Agree with that?
Yeah, he is. But I remember watching the Sky, when we were on Sky against Sheffield United, and Warnock was the pundit in the studio, and he said he's the best defender at the club. You want your defenders to defend, and that's what we need. We need that bit of steel just to defend, keep the ball out, be aggressive, and be physical, and hurt people if you have to. Just keep the ball away from the goal. And if Morris and Hackney can get the ball off him and play from there, like that's fine. That's just a bit of a play, isn't it? But I think he's. He'd be my first choice centre back.
Okay. Let's move on from him. Let's talk about some other players then. You've just mentioned Morris there, Sean. Diabetic Jake says Aidan Morris was by far the best player on the pitch. Dael Fry was pretty good too. We don't mention Aidan Morris too much on this channel. Is he one of those players that all his work goes a little bit unappreciated at times?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the fact that he doesn't get a mention is almost like a compliment because he does a lot of the work that is as you say there, goes be sort of unnoticed and behind the scenes, and especially I think the pivot with him and Hackney is so much better with Morris in there. It allows him to sort of look forward and play forward a lot more without that sort of worrying behind him, and he's so robust and he's tenacious, Morris, and as Jonathan said, we don't really maybe have that in spades in terms of leadership and even communication. I've seen him sort of being quite vocal in games as well. So yeah, he's definitely a good fit for us in that midfield with Hackney. And I will just say as well with Hackney, he's not the kind of stereotypical captain, but in recent weeks, I think courage in terms of wanting the ball and wanting to get on the ball and affect games, I think he's done really well as well.
Before we carry on, do let us know in your comments below now who should be the February player of the month. We might have already mentioned them in the discussions already there, but let us know. We'll shout some of these out next week. Drop us a subscribe if you've just come across the channel as well. Will, this was a tweet which I'm not sure is a flex at all, but yeah, it's the first Boro clean sheet for much of it. I mean, okay, you stopped Derby scoring, woohoo! But on a more serious point, how has he done for you since he was put between the sticks?
He's kept a lot of games from being 4, 5, 6. To be totally honest, I've been really impressed. There's a reason he's come down from a Premier League team, and he will be my February player of the month. I think I'm not sure there's anyone else really. Conway maybe, but yeah, Travers he's looked impressive. Yeah, one or two mistakes. I think the Sheffield United game comes to mind from a corner, but I think that game was already dead and buried. We're never going to get anything from it. Yeah, I've been really impressed. Big upgrade on Tom Glover, and I think an upgrade on Dieng as well. You just feel confident with him in goal. He's calm on the ball. He can play, but for a goalkeeper, you want him to make saves, and that's the difference between him and some of the past ones that we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. And of course, we need to mention Carrick, of course, Jonathan, because we've shouted at him last couple of weeks. Estelle says, bloody love beating Mark Robbins and John Eustace in the same week. Credit where it's due. We weren't taking maximum points from these kinds of games earlier in the season. That was a major issue. I think that's what Sean was talking about. Well done, Carrick. Yeah, should we give him a bit of praise this week, Jonathan?
Yeah, why not? Look, I'll go back to what I said originally. It's the bit I want to see is win again and again and again. And you know, it's easy to heap praise on after a couple of victories and say, "Oh, we're out of this run of bad form," etc. But you know, I want to see 5 or 6 games of consistent winning, good, solid football, and then you'll get more praise from me. So I'm watching and I'm enjoying it and I'm enjoying winning, but I want to see it again and again and again.
You don't want much. Okay, fair enough. Right, Finn Azaz is our last topic before we head into our February Player of the Month. Craig, just how good is he? And is he in there, the top 10 players of that position in the league?
Yeah, I think he is. I think we've talked about him quite a lot, and he's he's a player like I think I mentioned a few times. He doesn't cover a lot of ground. He's not very fast, but he's got a touch and an eye for a pass where he can just thread a ball through, or he can pick someone out. And obviously, he's added some goals to that as well. And so I think in that number 10 position, I think obviously like players have moved, like Sammy Szmodics, for example, like last year was unreal there. And Sheffield United have got a couple of players who like Hamer. I think he's a hell of a player, Hamer, but I think he's definitely up there. It's in the top 3 or 4, I would say, at that like attacking midfielder number 10 role. Yeah, definitely.
The understanding Sean he had with Latilath in the early parts of the season was what ultimately propelled you to winning so many games. Do you think he's got to work hard now to develop that new relationship with Conway or Greg Zug, whoever plays up top?
Yeah, I think it's coming, and I think it'll take a little bit of time. Obviously, Whittaker's come in. He had a little bit of a rapport with him at Plymouth. Dork, he was connecting well with him, and then unfortunately he's gone out with injury. But yeah, I think we're getting there. It's ironic, really, that we've gone back to sort of a settled 11 that's incorporated a few of the players that weren't getting a game before the January window, like Force. He's had injuries sort of on and off, and yeah, we've got a bit more of a settled side. And dare I say it, Ian Actor, when he first came and had those little cameos, I wasn't really sure whether he was going to be a good fit. But in fairness to him, when he came on, I think technically he was very good. He used the ball pretty well, and he triggered the press, believe it or not, a few times. And him and Conway instigated a few where we just had a bit of a lull against Derby. He picked up the energy a little bit. So yeah, we're quick to criticise about the subs coming on and stuff, but I think he got them right at the weekend, and I think we're starting to see some nice little patterns in that forward line now.
Okay, all right. Brilliant. Thank you very much, all of you. I think we've nearly gone through the whole squad there. That's amazing. March is now upon us, so it's time to look back on February. Will, you've already given us yours, the goalkeeper. So we'll skip to Jonathan. Player of the month.
Yeah, it's hard to look past Travers, I have to say. What I like is his save percentage. So he's a good old-fashioned shot stopper. So I like that a lot. So we needed that. And like Will alluded to, he's certainly saved a few goals and kept us there. I know our February results weren't good, but maybe the results could have been even worse, to put it that way. But yeah, he's done well. And more recently, if it was kind of February dripping into March, you'd give a shout out to Hackney, Borges, and Bergzog, of course. You'd give a shout out to too. So I think Sean picked it up as well. You can see there's some shoots peeking through at last to say, there's a bit of form in more than just one player here. There's a little bit coming around from a few of them. So look forward to that continuing.
Good shouts, Craig.
Yeah, I think I'd say Morris. I think he's he's pivotal to the way we play. When we lost him like November time, and we had the midfield two of Barlaser and Hackney, we were just so soft, and teams could walk through us. A couple of passes and they were through to the back four, and there was shots raining in from all over. And he was a massive miss. I mean, he settled in so well. He didn't take any time to settle in with it being a new league, new country. And obviously he's come back from injury. He hasn't took long again to get up to speed. And I know he's not the prettiest of footballers, but he's, like I say all the time, like, you need some metal, you need some steel and some determination in there. And he gives you that. He gives you that steel, and he covers the ground. He'll do dirt. He'll be a rough tackle. He'll put his body in, and then he'll get his foot on the ball and he'll play some passes. But I think him being in the team is like a full to support the defence, give him a bit of protection, and it allows Hackney to go on from there. Like Sean was saying, Hackney's confidence could have went in the toilet over January because he didn't play particularly well. He got some penalties, but he's kind of stayed courageous. He's got the ball. He's always wanted the ball, and he's always going forward.
Good shout again, and then Sean, probably not left
Yeah,
you with much here.
I definitely endorse the Travers shout, and Jonathan's right in Neto Borges has played really well. I like how Conway's come back into the team and he's carrying the mantle now up front, and it's quite a big responsibility with Lath going, and then us sort of scratching around, panicking almost at the end of the window, trying to replace in that area. So I think Conway coming in and getting a couple of goals it's been great, but just something we haven't touched on is whether maybe Neto Borges is going to play centre back now if we struggle with Ayling now being out. It'd be interesting, but Howson's back. Will Howson drop in there? It's going to be an interesting one who partners Fry now. Okay.
All decent shouts. Let us know again in the comments if we've missed any, and we'll read some of these out next week. It's Swansea then. Next is the reverse of the opening day of the fixture. Will, it was a latter left penalty in the first half that sunk the Swans back in August. It must feels a lifetime ago, doesn't it, that game? For all of you. How do you see this one going? You don't tend to do very well in Wales.
I'm quietly quite confident. I think that even just winning a couple of games is going to do massive things for the squad's confidence. I know Swansea's last game they beat Blackburn 3-0, I believe, but before then they were really poor. Still don't think they brought in a manager. So I think we have to go there and win, and yeah, I think we will.
Okay, Jonathan, you that confident?
Yeah, play to our potential. Same as all season. Play to our potential, we'll beat them. Simple as that. Don't play to our potential, we'll give them a chance. So yeah, so if we play well, we'll win. Okay,
we'll review that, of course, on the channel next week. Join us for that. Finally, last week you relegated a couple of sides from the division, being quite nasty. This week we're doing the opposite, and we're putting a team in the playoff final, and we're manifesting the 24th of May, because that's when that's the wrong button. That's when the EFL have announced when the playoff final is going to be. So, Craig, it's a warm May afternoon at Wembley now. The Boro are walking up Wembley Way in the famous red and white. Who's walking up the other side for you?
I think it'd have to be Burnley. I think they'll probably just miss out on the automatic promotions, but they just don't lose games, and they've got a nice gap now to set, like a massive gap to 7th anyway. So I think they'll be there, and in the semi-finals and the playoffs, I think they'll probably win it 1-0 on aggregate. Like it's not going to be spectacular. I think they'll just bore themselves to Wembley, and we'll beat them 1-0.
All right. Sean, your dream playoff final now, rather than perhaps the one you think it will be?
Well, there's a few narratives there, isn't there? Obviously, there's the Coventry sort of retribution, if you like. And I can't deny that I wouldn't be a little bit afraid, given seeing the ties that we've played with them this season already. But who wouldn't love a Boro-Sunderland final, to be honest? Obviously, if we were the victors.
Yep, like I said at the start, they said they'd love to play you in the final. And
Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Jonathan?
Yeah, I have to disagree with Sean, I got to say. You know what? You're right. Some scores to say. You'd like to see Norwich and do one over them. You'd like to get one over on Coventry. Bristol, just because of recent memory, you'd like to get one over on them. Yeah, Watford did us, so you'd like to get one over on them. So, there's quite a few scores to say there. Yeah. I suppose to beat Sunderland in a final would be quite spectacular, I have to say.
Okay. Will?
I think I'm going to say Coventry. We've been neck and neck in the league the last 2, 3, 4 years. They got one over us in the playoffs a couple of years ago, so it'd just be a lovely feeling to get one over there in the final. And like Carrick and Lampard itself managing on the touchline would be a pretty incredible sight.
Yeah. You're married, aren't you? You in Coventry. You just can't keep apart in the league. In recent years. Right, thank you very much for that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys at the other side of the Swansea result. Thanks for joining us.